Once a simple farm boy, Peter, lived on the outskirts of the small village of Elderglen. His life was unremarkable until one day, a stranger arrived, a man with a pale countenance and eyes as red as the sunset. The man, named Adrian, was seeking refuge. Peter, having always been taught to help those in need, welcomed Adrian into his home. Over the course of weeks, Peter became fascinated by Adrian's tales of far-off lands, ancient cities, and magical creatures. There was an allure to Adrian that Peter couldn't quite place. But one secret lay behind those crimson eyes, a truth that would forever change the course of Peter's life. One evening, as Peter was preparing their meal, he cut his hand with a kitchen knife. The sight of blood sent an unexpected shiver down Adrian's spine. His eyes gleamed, and his fangs were bared, his true nature revealed. A vampire. Fear seized Peter, but it was quickly replaced with curiosity. Adrian spoke of his eternal life, the knowledge acquired over centuries, and the loneliness that came with it. He painted a picture of a world unseen by mortal eyes, a world that Peter could be a part of. Despite the danger, Peter found himself drawn to this new, exciting existence. And Adrian, lonely and touched by Peter's kindness, offered him a choice. To live forever, to see the world through the eyes of an immortal. Peter, driven by his yearning for something more than his simple life, accepted. As Adrian's fangs sank into his neck, Peter felt a burning pain, which quickly turned into an overwhelming surge of life. His senses heightened, his heartbeat slowed, and he felt an indescribable power coursing through his veins. In the following weeks, Peter struggled with his newfound abilities and the loss of his humanity. The taste of blood, once repulsive, was now intoxicating. His once simple life had turned into an eternal night, and he was both terrified and fascinated by it. He was no longer a simple farm boy but a creature of the night, a vampire. Despite his fears, Peter embraced his new life with Adrian as his mentor. He learned to control his thirst, to blend in with humans, to use his heightened senses. Adrian taught him the vampire code, their laws and principles. Peter discovered a world within his world, a secret society that existed right under the noses of the humans. One day, Peter received a letter. It was an old, weathered parchment sealed with red wax, the emblem of a rose pressed into it. The letter was from the Council of the Rose, the highest authority among vampires. They had learned about Peter, a new vampire, sired without their knowledge or permission. Peter was summoned to their court, to answer for his existence. Adrian warned him about the council, their ruthlessness, and their adherence to the vampire laws. The punishment for unauthorized siring was death. Not just for the sire, but for the progeny as well. The night before his trial, Peter stood at the edge of Elderglen, looking at his once home. The fear he felt was no longer about his vampirism, but about the trial that awaited him. He was a stranger in his own land, an outsider among his own kind. As he turned to leave, he saw a figure standing in the shadows. It was a woman, her eyes glowing in the moonlight, her aura radiating power. She was the last person Peter expected to meet, the one person who could either save him or doom him. It was Anastasia, the head of the Council of the Rose. "What are you doing here?" Peter asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Anastasia just smiled, a mysterious and chilling grin. "I've come to meet the new addition to our kind," she said, her voice as cold as the night air. "After all, it's not every day a human willingly becomes a vampire." Peter felt his heart, or what was left of it, tighten. He had no idea how this encounter would go. Would she condemn him on the spot, or was there a chance for him? "I've heard much about you, Peter," Anastasia continued, her eyes gleaming with an unreadable emotion. "You've sparked quite the controversy. A farm boy turned vampire, sired by a loner." Peter swallowed hard, standing tall as he met her gaze. "I didn't ask for this life, but now that I have it, I don't intend to lose it." Anastasia's lips curled into a faint smile. "Bold words," she said. "But it will take more than words to survive the council." Peter nodded, understanding the gravity of his situation. "I will do what I must." "Good," Anastasia said. "Because the council is not the only danger you face. There are other forces at work. Forces that wouldn't mind seeing you gone." A shiver ran down Peter's spine. His life was becoming more complicated and dangerous by the moment. He was a part of a world he hardly understood, and the rules seemed stacked against him. "But for now," Anastasia said, turning to leave, "I suggest you prepare for your trial. Your future depends on it." With that, she disappeared into the night, leaving Peter alone with his thoughts. He had much to contemplate and little time. His trial was soon, and he had to prepare. But the warning Anastasia had given him loomed in his mind. What other forces wanted him gone? As he walked back to Adrian, his fears and uncertainties were replaced by a newfound determination. He was a vampire now, and he would fight for his right to exist, against the council, and against whatever unknown dangers lay ahead. However, the words of Anastasia rang in his ears, other forces at work. As he pondered her warning, he couldn't shake off the feeling that his life was about to get even more complicated. Little did he know, his journey was just beginning.